history. You hear about this and you read about that. I don't want to look at Grumpy Cat. This is how to watch TV. What's that I hear? You hear the Lost finale. It's not your fault that you can't see what we see. This is how to watch TV. On Comeuppance Network. This is how to watch TV. On Comeuppance Network. This is how to watch TV.
Chronologically Lost with Joel and Jenna. My name's Joel.
My name is Jenna. We're brought to you by Comeuppance Network, and you can find all of our social media links at thishishowtowatchtv.com.
What are you going to do with that phrase when we're done with this podcast?
Never say it again.
Fair enough. We are here to discuss the last on-island episode of Lost. Episode 96, covering 2007, The Island, Day 14. We start, what did you do? Then I kill you. Okay, I like it. Then I kill you. That's a good way to cap off.
What happens next?
Then I kill you would be the proper answer.
They're all dead after this. Spoiler alert.
God damn it. Spoiled it. Jack is washing his face in the stream, staring at his hands like Michael J. Fox in Back to the Future. Making sure his
What movie is that?
I've never seen it.
No,
I've
me
just
neither.
heard about
That's
it.
weird.
I should have just said the wrong name, or just slightly wrong. When Michael Jackson was in Back to the Future?
Michael Jackson.
That was pretty strong beverage there, huh?
It was very. Oops.
Ben is with Locke, and Sawyer, Kate, and Hurley are still at the Jacob bonfire.
Did it go out?
It did go out.
Okay.
It was smoldering at that point, I think. So does that mean he's still there, or is it only when the fire goes out? Or
I don't know.
Because
Well,
he was ashes.
He was
and then
technically gone, so.
But he was just ashes.
Well, we didn't see him anymore, so I guess he's gone.
Right, yeah, he's gone. Yeah, no more Mark Pellegrino on the show. He's done as Jacob.
I don't know who that is.
That's Jacob.
Okay.
In the river, Jack's standing there breathing a contented breath for the first time. How funny is that? If that's literally why he was just always raggedly breathing, is because he was never happy or content or whatever, and he's finally found that peace. So that was all leading up to this moment where Jack's gonna.
So
be able to
him
breathe
drinking the water from the stream was him becoming immortal?
Yes, it was him. Now you're like me, is what Jacob told him.
So now you're gonna live forever?
That's what his mom said to him.
I
don't
know.
think he knows really beyond what he's experienced.
Okay.
I don't know that anybody knows the rules, which is sort of why Jacob got to make up his own all along.
Well, Jacob was able to be killed, but he didn't age.
Correct, but he
So-
couldn't be killed by Man in Black.
Yeah, but he just surrounded himself with people that didn't want to kill him, which is why he lived so long. His
He
brother
didn't
was the only one that wasn't allowed to kill him, but everybody
he
else
just kept
technically could
himself-
have.
That's why. I'm thinking now that you say it, maybe that's why he kept himself secluded, because he knew
How
somebody.
boring.
Right.
I mean, God.
he had to spend time making that.
His quilt.
Yeah.
I mean,
The quilt.
7,000 years later.
So Sawyer wonders what happened. Jack is the new Jacob, basically, and doesn't feel any different. Jacob told Jack about the bamboo forest and to protect the heart of the island. And he's like, the lock smoke thing wants to put that light out, I bet.
Yeah.
I mean, Sawyer's just full in on the ridiculousness of it at this point. And I say that in jest.
I think at this point they were trying to wrap up all the storylines, and they're just saying to confirm what we're thinking.
They're like, so if I'm guessing right, that would mean then he wants to put that light out?
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm with you. Let's
okay,
do it.
well, let's go protect that light,
Right,
or whatever you want to do.
Jacob didn't say anything to Jack about Desmond. He's like, didn't sound like he said anything about anything. He's like, yeah, dude, he's worse than Yoda.
Yeah.
Sawyer's going to get the magic leprechaun out of the well, and Hurley's got a bad feeling about this.
I laughed so hard at the
magic
magic
leprechaun?
leprechaun. He was really good with the nicknames in this one. So
Right, that's
now
a new
it's been,
thing.
5 days since Juliet died? Or how many days has it been?
I want to say that she died on
The day before day one on island, right? She died the day before they woke up from the Ajira flight. No, I'm sorry. That last flash that threw him back into present, which
Right.
after the bomb.
I think that was, man, I don't know exactly what day that was, but it was probably, let's say a
What
week.
day are we right now?
We're on day 14, but it started on day 1 with Sun and Frank and Ben coming back on Ajira. And they were
Yeah.
there for a few days
You're right.
before.
So, I mean, it's been like 5 days.
It's
so
been
now,
like, it's at the most a week, maybe 10 days.
So he's supposed to be kind of over Juliet's death at this point?
I don't think he's over it. I think he's realizing that Jack obviously never intended to kill her.
No, but I mean, when you're dealing with all of this trauma back to back, one thing after another, I guess you'd have to at some point let go and move on. So he's just showing more now that he's back to his old self and making fun of everyone.
Right. Jack says he was supposed to take the job because the island is all he has left. And Kate's like, you haven't ruined anything. Nothing is irreversible. Yeah, well.
I feel like some things are.
No, I meant, we're at the well.
Oh.
No. Sawyer gets caught watching Man in Lock by Ben. Sawyer guesses that he needs Desmond to destroy the island. Smokey isn't going down with the island, but Jacob's candidates are. And he's like, yep, sorry, boss. There's no longer candidates. Jack took the job. Sawyer takes Ben's gun. My favorite moment of Ben the entire series. That he gets hit with that.
Oh.
He gets the butt of the gun or the elbow.
Yeah. I mean,
what a
that
great
would suck
fucking
so
sound
bad.
effect. Ben is confused about the literal destroying of the island. He's like, oh, yeah, I sort of left out the part about it was going to be on the bottom of the ocean. I like the way they tied that in. As much of a cop-out as it was of a way to explain the island being at the bottom of the ocean in the sideways.
In the sideways, right.
Like, that's a bit of
But why do you think it was in the bottom in the sideways?
Because that makes this story, it keeps you guessing if you see it that way. And then you hear Man in Lock say this, you're thinking, oh shit, he's going to win. And the island is going to sink because we still didn't know it was a sideways. I mean, we knew it was a sideways, but we didn't know what it meant. They were still teasing us in the finale, like, what is it? You know, and him saying that was like,
well,
it's
them
a
all
bit
being
cheap,
dead puts them in that church, so the island doesn't need to be above water anymore.
Right.
Okay.
No, the island supposedly sank after Ben and his dad had been there in the sideways. Which means maybe the bomb worked. You know what I mean? Like, there's all kinds of things. We'll get to that stuff when we start discussing it. But Ben is taking care of his dad in the sideways. And they mention the island, having been on the island before.
Well, they did when they were alive. So, I mean, they're all going to have their memories of when they were alive.
They were implying that they then left the island, because if they had their
well,
life
they did when they died.
But within the sideways, they all have these lives that they believe are real.
This is going to put us in some weird conversations the next few episodes. I can feel it because,
absolutely.
Like, you posted that thing the other day about how we were talking about something that somebody else shared on
reincarnation,
Facebook. Okay.
yeah.
So, I mean, it's just a lot of this is, I know it's all fiction and it's fun, but there's that man of science, man of faith that just kind of butts heads when it gets to life and death here.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
it's almost like that was one of the main themes of the show.
Almost.
See what they did? Because the main theme was called Life and Death. The song Life and Death. It was an actual
was
theme.
it? I wish I had heard that song before.
So Man in Lock notices dog tracks by the well. And then we cut to Rose and Bernard.
Oh, I was so happy to see them.
She was still a bitch.
She was.
She was still a bitch.
Like, you can eat and then get the fuck out because we don't like your kind around here.
What did she say before that, too? She said something to Bernard, too, that was shitty. It was just like, God, get him some tea or something. You know, the way she said it.
Did you feed him yet?
Yeah. Just like, God damn it, you're still the worst. Bernard, you are a saint, and I don't know what you see in Rose.
I remember really loving her, so that's what's so weird.
I remember hating the temple, so we flip-flopped on two things on this show.
We really did.
The temple was great, and Rose sucks.
I mean, maybe I just like her as a person. I don't know her as a person, but I feel like I would.
She seems super annoying, though, in this version.
Should we?
She's hard to please.
Can we put that maybe she was feeling bad all the time?
No. So Desmond wakes up outside their camp. Vincent is with them. And he asks how long they've been living there. They're like, yeah, we built this place in 1975, lived here for a couple of years, and the sky lit up again. I don't know when we are.
Yeah, that was totally just pleasing the audience again.
Right. Yeah, so she tells Desmond he has to leave when he's done eating. They broke their rule by getting involved. And
yeah.
Bernard apologizes, but I was thinking just now that he was apologizing for Rose, but he wasn't. He was apologizing for getting busted
sorry.
by... Yeah, Man in Lock is here, and Ben. And he tells Desmond to come with him or he'll kill Rose and Bernard. And she's like, You don't have to do anything he says. Like, okay, you won me back there for a second. No, she won me back because she was being selfless there. She's going, you know what? As much as we didn't want to get involved, fuck this guy.
Right.
You don't have to do a goddamn thing he says. Because I bet you she knows he's not Locke.
How would she know? She's been gone for 30 years.
She hasn't been gone for 30 years.
I mean, she has no clue that Locke is dead.
She seems like the type that would know that thing. That would know
she
it's a different
should
person.
have no clue that he's dead.
Right. I mean, to be fair, Desmond didn't know. He's like, yeah, you're John Locke.
Well, Desmond also, why would he have any idea that he was dead?
So Desmond asked for Man in Locke's word. He won't ever touch them. And I felt like that was too technically specific. I would have been like, under no circumstances in any way, shape, or form are you or anybody else that you're involved with.
Or a tree that's nearby cannot fall on them.
Exactly. No harm can befall them in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
Like,
they cannot die.
He seems like the kind of guy that's going to find the technicality of it like he did with Jacob. It wouldn't take thousands of years.
So because Rose and Bernard never technically leave the island, are you trying to say that they die because they sink on the island?
The island never sinks. That's not real.
Okay. Well, you said that in the Sideways.
Correct. The Sideways are already dead.
So you're thinking that in the Sideways they have different memories?
In the Sideways, they only have their memory, that what they're making up to help find each other.
They get
so they
to
can
make
move
up
on.
memories in death?
Yes, it's not that they're choosing to make it up.
Did anybody comment on my issues with death and divorce and your ex-spouse showing up with your new spouse?
No.
Nobody? Nothing?
No.
I actually had that conversation with my husband.
Yeah, what did he say?
Like, you know what would really suck is that when I die and if you die first or
what
whatever.
Did he say to it, though?
He's like, Jenna, shut up. We're at a funeral. It was really bad.
Okay, that was good.
Yeah, sorry. Okay.
So they're in the jungle, and Desmond guesses they're going somewhere with a very bright light. Just a hunch. Ben's walkie makes a noise, and he's like, nothing? It was nothing. It was nothing.
Right.
Miles is trying to radio Ben because he found Richard. Miles wants to get Richard some help, and he's like, who's going to help us? We're on a fucking island in the middle of nowhere. He wants to blow up the plane still. Sawyer's running through the jungle. He catches up with Jack and them, and they're all going to the same place, and he's like, what happens then? Oh, nope, then it ends.
Yeah.
At the dock, Richard and Miles get in an outrigger. Miles notices Richard has a gray hair. Yeah, welcome to the club, because Miles has been peppered the whole time.
Yeah.
Richard is happy, and he just realized he wants to live, which is interesting.
Because he wants to die?
He wants to die regularly.
After being old. Yeah.
He wants to live out the rest of his life without this bullshit.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that means he's free and clear with the murder and like God's judgment and stuff?
What murder?
Killing the doctor.
Oh, I mean, I feel like we're past that.
I agree, but
got to be past that. But my thought was, he's gonna get on an airplane for the first time, and then I was like, no, wait, he probably has been on airplanes because he's been on a sub, and then he's gone to visit all the people off island.
I don't know that he would have been on although he did say. No, that was just not in Portland.
I mean, if he took the sub to wherever, then he would have had to fly to where Locke was and all those places.
Yeah, I don't think he doesn't have any supernatural abilities other than...
No, I was just saying, like, he's been kept on the island for so long, he probably hasn't experienced a lot of off-island life, but he has. He had to have.
Yeah, literally up until the day he got to the island. And then
that was like hundreds and thousands of years ago.
But then they pressed pause on his aging.
Yeah.
So he lived exactly the amount of age that he is off island.
Yeah.
And now he gets to continue just in hundreds of years later.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous in that sense.
Have you ever watched that Age of Adeline movie?
Yes.
Where she has to keep moving because she never ages. So I
told you to watch a movie called The Man from Earth.
Oh, I don't think I've watched that one yet. Is it on Netflix?
I don't know. It's not like a high production movie, but it's basically everybody sitting in one room talking about something. But
sounds really boring.
It's really fucking interesting.
Who sits in a room and talks about things?
I mean, you'll see. Frank, they find Frank floating in the water, and he asks why they want to blow up the plane.
Who was the guy dead before Frank? Because I was like, wait, who's this guy?
He was from the sub.
Just a red shirt from the sub?
Okay. A red shirt from the Woodmore people. And Frank's like, look, if we leave, then he won't have a plane to leave. So And don't forget, I'm a pilot. He's wearing his pilot
Right.
shirt still. In the jungle, Jack, Sawyer, Kate, Hurley versus Man in Lock, Ben and Desmond. They like walk up over the hill at each other. Kate starts shooting. He's like, save your bullets. She did.
Yeah.
Jack is they come face to face, and Jack, he's like, you're the obvious choice. He's like, no choice. I volunteered. Jack doesn't want to stop Man in Lock. He wants to go with him. They are going to the place Jack has sworn to protect, and you think you will destroy the island there, but that's not what's going to happen. Then I kill you, or something. I still
Then
can't
I
get
kill
to,
you.
Yeah. And he's like, well, how? He's like, the house is a surprise.
Yeah.
Sawyer tells... I put Sawyer tells Sawyer Desmond is the surprise, a.k.a. a weapon. So Jack tells Sawyer. We get to the bamboo field. Man in Lock recognizes the location. Like, holy fuck, where's this been?
So was it cloaked the whole time?
Yes.
And just because Jacob is dead, now they can see it?
The ruler gets to decide who can see it.
So
Just like Mother did before and showed them. They weren't rulers when she took them there as kids. So
But-
he gets
so-
to take people there now. Jack does.
So Jack is showing Man in Lock
Mm-hmm.
this place. Okay.
Right. Man in Lock, Jack and Desmond only. Hurley tells Jack he believes in him. They see the source, and it's dimly lit. They tie a rope to the tree and the other end to Desmond. And Desmond's like, this doesn't matter. He's been seeing the afterlife.
Yeah.
You're going to lower me into that light, and I'm going to go somewhere else where we can be with the ones we love and never think about this damn island again. You're in this place, Jack. We sat next to each other on Oceanic 815. It never crashed. You seemed happy. And he wants to find a way to bring him there. Jack's like, there are no do-overs. Whatever happened, happened. All of this matters. And then Desmond goes down into the cave. But, I mean, I never really realized, okay, Desmond...
Was telling the truth?
He was, but Desmond also doesn't die here.
Right.
So he gets to go back and live the rest of his life with his wife and
When,
kid.
though? He didn't get on the plane. There's no sub.
Hurley can get him off of the island. Hurley was off the island with Ben later.
Oh, okay.
In the same way that Jacob could do that, I bet you he could then just be like,
Well,
okay, we're
that's
off
cool
the island.
that he gets to leave. And okay.
Yeah, no, he's like, oh, sorry, I have a job for you. It involves a button.
Yeah. You're going to have to stay there.
You're going to have to stay. Outside the heart of the island, Ben gets a radio for Miles. They got to the Hydra. Frank and them see Claire. She shoots at them or, makes them dance a little bit. She thinks they're with Man in Lock and are sent to kill her. And Richard's like, yeah, no, we can get away. We can go home. And she's like, yeah, no, I'm out.
She's the worst.
Right. Desmond knows where to go. He knows to go where the light is brightest. They lower him down. Locke asks if this reminds Jack of anything, and he's like, Desmond going into a hole in the ground. If there was a button down there, we could fight about whether or not to push it. He's like, you're not John Locke, and you disrespect his memory by wearing his face. Turns out he was right about most everything. I wish I could have told him that when he was alive. And he's like, he wasn't right about anything. And Man in Lock and Jack stare down the hole just like after they just blew up the hatch.
Yeah.
Blew up in the hatch. You've heard the term "jump the shark," right? Where a show jumps the shark.
Uh-huh.
You know what that's from? There was an episode of Happy Days where the Fonz literally jumped a shark.
Yeah. And then
And they were like, that's where it goes into ridiculous territory.
Yeah.
There became another phrase after the first season of Watch called blowing the hatch, meaning it opening up in a bigger way than you could ever imagine.
Right.
Like, oh shit, I didn't even think about that. And then boom, they blew it up and it's like, well, there's endless
And
possibilities
then it just
now.
got really ridiculous after they blew up the hatch.
You think blew...
I'm kidding.
Well, you're right. Desmond is down at the bottom. He sees other skeletons, then finds the cork area. So other people went in. That's what Mother was
just
talking
died?
about. She said people have tried to take this, and it's. She said something about that, like it's too much. You get more than you bargain for, kind of thing. I don't know. I don't really remember exactly what she said. It's literally the first episode.
I mean, but it could have been like when Jacob threw his brother down there and he died but came out the other end.
But they buried him. He buried Jacob. I mean, he put them in the caves.
Yeah, I know, but he could have thrown other people down there and then they just died.
What, you think Jacob's just
Yes,
murdering
he was
people?
murdering people.
Amazing. He steps into the light pool and it starts reacting. He fights through it to get to the cork and pulls it. We hear the familiar noises of like the I don't even know how to describe it.
The light.
Yeah. And the water stops flowing. So the water and light combo is what Man in Black was making in the well with those scientists.
with
that was what he was trying to do. He's like,
donkey wheel?
if you mix water and light, blah blah blah. So that it was the time, not the time travel so much. I mean, I guess it is also the time travel, but the teleportation off the island. I mean, the electromagnetism is a fun fucking thing. So Desmond watches the light flicker out, and it comes back glowing red and hot, and it's smoking. And he shouts no because he didn't go.
He wanted to die.
Yeah, well, he didn't know he wanted to die. He wanted to go to the other place.
Right.
So yeah, sorry, Desmond, you're not going to be there for a long-ass time, hopefully. Manilock says, it looks like you were wrong. Goodbye, Jack. And everything starts shaking. Manilock gets punched by Jack, and then he starts bleeding. And he's like, looks like you were wrong, too. And he hits him in the head with a rock, and he runs off, and Jack's left there for a little bit.
Yeah.
So now at this
shaking,
point,
neither one of them
have any power.
Correct. So they can both die.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, in theory, Jacob could always die.
But not by the hand of Man in Black.
Right. But again, those were their rules. No, that was the mother's rule. She said, I've made it so you can never hurt each other.
Right. But so
she
maybe that
decided-
didn't apply to Jack and Man in
Yeah,
Black.
right.
But Jack couldn't hurt. Nobody could hurt Man in Lock
Right.
until the cork was pulled.
Correct.
Okay.
So that was like the reset button on any curse or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Ben pushes Hurley out of the way of a falling tree. Gets trapped under it. Jack wakes up and it's pouring rain, and he shouts down to Desmond, nothing. Sawyer thinks Locke was right. The island is going down. I mean, it's shaking like it's going to fucking die. Right? Like it's going down. At the Hydra, they try to repair the plane. Miles tells Kate they're leaving once the plane is fixed. 5 hours, maybe 6, Frank needs. And he's like, yeah, we got like 1. Ben suggests they take Locke's boat to Hydra. So we're at Jacob's cave. This is the inevitable showdown between Jack and Man and Locke. And the epic start to the battle.
There's no cell phones, so it's very irritating to me that they're always like, "Oh, I know where you went." Jack wakes up in a river or whatever, and then realizes that he should go to the Jacob's caves to find Man and Locke.
Is it possible that it's all right by each other? And we just you never knew that?
Maybe.
I don't know.
No,
that's a good point, though. Honestly, that makes sense. How the fuck would they know where to go?
I mean, if
Unless Jack
woke up
didn't lose all
here
his powers.
and you're at Seth's house, which is seemingly nearby, but how am I supposed to know to go there instead of to McDonald's or some? I mean, it's just like ridiculous that they know unless they can see across the island. Like, oh, he's over there. All right, I'm gonna go that way.
At Jacob's cave, so Man and Locke, they start running at each other and jump.
Which was so stressful, because I'm like, you're going to go off the cliff.
So close to the edge.
God,
right?
why are you just jumping? Like, you don't even care if you're going to die?
Right. The cliff falls off the edge, and then Man and Locke reaches his knife and stabs Jack in the gut and twists.
Yeah, but Jack didn't die instantly?
No.
Okay.
Then he tries to stab Jack in the neck, which, do you remember what that ties into?
No.
Okay, I won't spoil it for you. Just remember that he stabbed Jack in the neck. He barely got him in the neck.
I mean, it was just a drip of blood.
Right,
okay.
Exactly. He's like, I want you to know you died for nothing. And then Kate shoots him and says, I saved you a bullet. And then Jack kicks him off the ledge. So did Kate kill him?
Yes.
Kate killed Man and Locke?
Yes.
Ugh.
I know.
So that's her purpose.
I guess.
God damn it. We just figured out a purpose for Kate. Ugh. So, the sun magically comes out when we're back from commercial. I thought that was fucking weird. Like, it kicks him off. Oh, it's because he's dead.
He died.
God damn it. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that the island was going to stop shaking at this point, but then it was like, oh, no, they have to put the cork back in.
So he's a literal dark cloud.
Yeah. Was he causing the rain?
Maybe. Right, okay. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, he's...
Yeah.
But he lost his powers.
He's the worst.
Let's see. Kate consoles Jack, and he says he has some thread if you want to count to 5.
Wouldn't he count to 5? But no, it's her.
Locke is dead. It's over, but the island's still shaking, like he said. At the Hydra, Frank is still working on the plane. Hydraulics are leaking pressure, and he sends Miles with some duct tape to fix it. Ben radios to get a timetable, and Frank says not to bother him. You could have just as easily said 20 minutes.
Right. Don't bother me.
20 minutes.
I'm going to start doing that when people beat me at work.
Right, exactly.
Don't bother me.
Jack says whatever Desmond turned off, he has to turn back on again, and tells them all to go to the plane. And I thought it was telling that Jack's wished James good luck. You know, he's called him James. I don't remember him really calling him that much in the show. It was always Sawyer.
Well, they always hated each other, too. And
Right.
at this
So it's
point, I
almost a
think
mutual
Jack
respect.
feels like he's been forgiven, and Sawyer
Yeah.
feels like he should forgive him.
Right. Ben is staying on the island if it goes down, and Hurley's like, yeah, I'm with you, Jack.
Well, Hurley's like, you see those fucking ladders?
Right. He's like, I'm jumping. I'm going
I'm not going down those,
Yeah,
so
no.
I guess I'm stuck here with you.
Right.
Because that would be me. There's no way in hell I'm climbing down that ladder,
Right.
or jumping. Because the anxiety that I had when Sawyer jumped head first, it was like,
Okay, don't even get me started on
Oh,
that.
my
So Jack
God.
tells Kate to go get Claire and get to the plane, and then she's like, tell me I'm going to see you again. She kisses him goodbye, and they both say, I love you.
yeah, that was.
He didn't say I love you too.
No,
He's
he
like,
just said, I love you.
I love you. I love you.
I love you.
Yeah. Miles is taping up the hydraulics, and he's like, I don't believe in a lot of things, but I do believe in duct tape. I mean,
That was
great
good.
one-liner.
It was good.
Sawyer and Kate are heading there. You know, don't leave without him.
Yeah.
One last son of a bitch by Sawyer.
It was good.
Bitch.
Yeah.
They jump. Who the fuck jumps off a cliff head first?
Well, our brothers have jumped off cliffs.
Head first, though?
I don't know. We'd have to ask
But
them.
Kate jumped
there
in
was
with her
not
feet,
like
and
that
that made
wasn't
sense.
GoPro territory at that point in time. So I guess we'd have to ask them. I'm pretty sure
No,
that
I have video of it.
You did? Were you there?
No.
Oh, okay.
But
Well,
I sent a
you
camera
sent
with them.
Okay, well, like one of those big. They're like,
No.
ah.
It was about that
the
big,
side
but
of
yeah.
a cliff. But I'm pretty sure that there was somebody in the band that like stood on the side of the cliff, like, do I really want to jump?
Right.
Like for a really long time.
Yeah. Oh, that
Like,
absolutely happened.
Yeah, that would be me because I would never jump.
No?
No.
Hurley helps Jack through the bamboo towards the source. Rocks are falling everywhere. Jack is going down there alone, and Hurley asks how Jack is going to survive if Desmond didn't, and he's like, I'm not going to. And Hurley's like, no, I'm not going to let you die. And he's like, yeah, I'm already dead.
Because he was stabbed in the side?
Yeah. And he's like, this is what I'm supposed to do. And Jack tells Hurley it needs to be him. What a greatly acted scene, because he was just like,
It was good.
fine, I'll do it. You know, it wasn't supposed to, it was only supposed to be Jack to do this. If someone has to protect the island, it should be Hurley. And Jack says he believes in Hurley, reciprocating from earlier. And Hurley will only take it temporarily until he gets the light back on. And then Jack asks for a cup, and it's an oceanic water bottle. He's like, yeah, that's perfect. And
I
then
mean,
now
is
you're
it
like me.
bad that I felt terrible for Ben during this scene? Like,
Why?
Because he probably was like, can I drink the water too? Like, why aren't
But
you
he-
picking me? Like,
but he
I
d-
want to be the
Well, I
man
think
in charge.
Obviously he does, but that Ben's redemption is coming.
I know,
you know?
but still, it was like, he was like, I have a water bottle.
Yeah, here you go. Frank tries to start up the plane, and it turns on. At the cave. Oh, at that cave. At the source. Ben and Hurley lower Jack, and they accidentally drop him when shit shakes again. He finds Desmond and wakes him up. Desmond says he put the light out and it didn't work. He thought he'd leave this place. He's confused why he's still here. He's like, I got to put it back in, and if Jack does, he'll die. And Jack says to go home and be with your wife and son. You know, that's your only job left. And he's like, I'll see you in another life, brother. I mean, I almost welled up just saying that just then. Honestly, like, I almost started crying just now by saying the line. Because that was just like, holy fuck, that's been building up
Yeah.
to that moment.
For him to finally say it back.
To say it back
Yeah.
to him and it literally mean it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because he will see him in
He
another
will
life
see
for
him
real.
when they're dead.
Kate finds Claire sitting on the beach. Parts of the island are falling into the water, the main island. They can see it. That was fucking crazy.
It was cool.
The plane starts moving, and Claire says the island made her crazy, and she doesn't know how to be a mother anymore. And Kate's like, I got your back. We'll do this. They run to the plane. Frank he whips the plane around, and they all strap in, and he hits the gas. But then, of course, they walk out conveniently
I know.
timed onto the
But
runway.
all I could picture was like, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. like thinking that, I'm like, oh my God, is he going to really see them? I was just envisioning that they're going to come out of these
And they're
little
tiny?
tiny people. And they're like, wait.
and he doesn't see him and just runs over him. All three get hit by one in the
they're all
middle and
dead.
two on the side
Yeah,
wheels.
And then it takes off.
Right.
I mean, only because Kate was involved, I would have like really chuckled.
Right. So Jack plugs the hole again, and nothing seems to happen. Back at the plane, Claire, Sawyer, and Kate climb in. Frank takes off just as the island breaks apart underneath them, and they're in the air safely. I mean, that was a cool moment, too.
It was really cool.
But still, just then, I mean, again, the fact that the fucking... So Jacob gave them the instructions to build the runway, I bet.
Had to have.
He had to have, because it's the only way it makes sense. He knew what was going to happen.
But how? He always saw the future?
I don't know. We've talked
didn't
about
he
this,
see his own death? I mean...
But he wanted to die.
Or maybe Ben was like, we need a fucking runway here. Like, let's get some planes actually coming in.
But they never did. They never had any intention of having planes
maybe
come in.
After that point, they knew the entry coordinates. I mean, they had to have known that they could enter underwater and above water at the same coordinates.
It was all those windows, though. Remember that Eloise was finding at the lamppost station? They were saying these coordinates at this time only.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just luck. That it's not luck, but Jacob, he knew.
Okay, so when the freighter was there then and the coordinates change randomly, do they know that they have a 7-day window at those coordinates? Or because they made it seem like they only had a real short time of a window when Ajira came.
Faraday was he was calculating the windows.
Oh, he was?
Yeah.
Do you know that? I don't remember talking about that.
Yeah, he was saying he calculated a bearing and gave it to Desmond. Gave it to Frank for him to fly. He said, stay on this no matter what.
So he calculated it right then?
Right then, yeah. He came up with
based on a pendulum that he, like a floating pendulum he brought with him?
Probably based on something to do with the rocket that he shot to himself.
Oh, okay.
At the cave, the molten red and the smoke stops. As the water starts flowing back in, the light comes back on. Jack laughs in triumph, and the light flickers back on really bright. And Ben and Hurley pull what they think is Jack up via the rope. It's Desmond. Hurley shouting down for Jack, but to no avail. They take Desmond outside the source. He seems like he's going to be okay. Hurley thinks Jack is gone. And Ben's like, you did your job. He did his job, which, again, that sort of makes sense.
Yeah.
That was always Jack's role. Hurley laments that it's now his job. And Ben says Hurley needs to do what he does best, take care of people. Help Desmond get home. He's like, but how? People can't leave the island. He's like, that's how Jacob ran things. Maybe there's another way, a better way. I'm trying not to cry.
I mean, it was really good because he did a great job of being supportive, but I really just pitied Ben.
But he asks for Ben's help at that moment, and then Ben's like, oh, fuck, I'd be honored.
Yeah.
And he's like, cool. I mean, that was so cool.
It was really sweet.
That was such a nice moment for Ben because he was needed, finally.
His whole life, he's wanted to just
But that was all building up to this.
Be a part of the island.
And he learned so much about it to where he could be helpful to Hurley now. And that'd be a kid in a candy store at that point. But also the honor. It was like 10 times the I'll have you that Ilana said to him. It was 10 times that because look at all the shit he's put Hurley's people through over all these years. And for Hurley, of all people, the kindest one to be like, I need you, man. I don't know.
Well, what are his options?
Right. Fair enough. He could ask Desmond to stay.
Yeah. And Desmond doesn't want to stay. So he's namaste.
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 So we go back to where Man in Black was after he exited the cave. Jack wakes up and stumbles to his feet. So
he's still bleeding out.
No, I'm confused by this part in the sense that, well, A, why didn't the island heal him?
Right.
I just thought of that right now. But
I was super irritated about that.
Do they get teleported out of there?
No, I think that thing that he was in fills with water and then just pushes his body out. Because he stayed inside the thing where the cork was. And then the water started running down. So for whatever reason, when they pulled the cork, the water stopped coming.
The water was trickling. But the water was barely going anymore.
Okay.
When they walked up to it, the light was dying, essentially. Okay. I don't know why, or I'm not really sure why.
Because Man in Black was winning.
You think
per
so?
se, at that point. He was the greater force.
Okay.
And then when he was dead, then the water started flowing.
Oh, the cave does fill up because we saw it full
That's what I'm saying.
Across the sea. That makes perfect sense.
When it's full, it pushes the bodies out, which is...
Okay.
Yeah.
So
but
Jack,
it doesn't really make sense.
Jack and a couple skeletons are now...
Yeah, the skeletons are still in there, which is weird. I guess maybe they're heavy, so they just stay where they're at. I don't know.
So he wakes up and stumbles to his feet. He walks where he woke up after the crash in the bamboo field, past the shoe that was there in the first episode. He finds the exact same clearing that he was at before and lays down. And then Vincent comes and lays down next to him. What a fucking awesome.
It was so sweet.
It was so cool. A pull-up shot on Jack dying. Then the plane flies right overhead where he can see it. And his eye closes. I mean, fucking beautiful. What an amazing bookend to the series. He always knew that was how the show ended. They told him that.
Yeah.
The show opens with your eye. The show starts with your eye opening and ends with your eye closing.
And
you
he
dying.
couldn't tell anybody?
Correct. I mean, he probably could have, but he didn't.
How could he live with that for 7 years?
Right. 6.
Whatever.
6 years.
God.
So then we go to the uber exciting The New Man in Charge.
Yeah, like I
Now,
said, I turned this off because it said Lost.
had you ever seen The New Man in Charge?
I have.
Okay.
You showed it to me after episode like 1 or 2. I don't remember.
Okay. Now, I didn't watch that until the Blu-ray set came out.
Well, I mean, I'm saying I watched it after episode 1 or 2 of Chronologically
Right.
Lost.
I knew what you were saying. But I didn't watch it until like 6 months after the show ended.
Oh, yeah. I don't think anybody could have.
I found that it was online, and I was like, oh my God, Andy, we got to watch this. So I went in his office, and we watched it, and I was like, this is crack. I want more now.
Yeah.
Give me more Lost. God, you just showed me that you could do more with this property.
No, they just don't care.
No, it's not that they don't care. I mean, they told the story they wanted to tell. I mean, just that was a way to wrap up the Walt stuff. And I get that. That's fine. But goddamn, I would watch a spinoff a million times over. There would have to.
I mean, we would still watch Seinfeld. So
I get it.
Like,
and there's something
to
shows.
The same shows.
There's something to shows ending when they do. Parks and Rec. If that went 10 seasons, not quite as quaint
I
and
feel like it would still be amazing.
It probably still would be. You're right. Yeah, I'm wrong on that. Well,
They're so good.
Look at The Office, though. The Office.
I never watched it,
The
so
Office
I can't.
I mean, The
comment.
Office is the style that Parks and Rec is.
Parks and Rec was better.
I've come to that conclusion later on. I hated Parks and Rec at first. The first 2 seasons
No
were
way, it
meh.
was so good.
I mean, to start.
But here's the thing.
Mark Brandanowitz, fuck that guy.
I don't like Curb Your Enthusiasm at all. Don't get into it. Don't think he's funny.
Where did you start that show?
Episode 1. Don't care. He's not funny.
The first season is weird because it's like, it's not what the show is.
I know. And Jeremy kept saying, maybe if I just go in and start season 2 and skip
I would say skip
1.
to like season 3 or 4 and just start in there.
Because it's just, he doesn't make me laugh.
It's Seinfeld, but more over the top.
But not the good characters that Seinfeld had.
He's George.
I mean, but I don't give a shit about George. Where's
George
Jerry?
wasn't your favorite?
No, I mean, I don't know.
Oh, then okay.
Kramer was my favorite.
I'll tell you this then. You need to watch.
And Elaine.
You need to watch season 7 of Curb Your Enthusiasm. They did a whole Seinfeld reunion on it.
Well, that would be good.
And I mean, they rebuilt the Seinfeld set and did an episode.
Oh my God.
It was fucking awesome. You need to watch that. Anyway. So I was hooked on this when I saw it.
Yeah,
I was
it was
like,
good.
fuck, how was that the end? We start at the Dharma warehouse. He goes in. There's 2. I don't even have to look at the notes for this. That's how much I know this thing. So he goes in. There's 2 guys in there loading the pallets up. And they're like, hurry up. I don't want to miss the window, blah, blah, blah. The thing's printing out. Then Ben walks in. And he's like, hey, you guys are relieved. You can go. Here's your severance pay. They're like, but what are we supposed to do? We've been doing this for 20 years. You know, we need answers. And that was, again, fan service, I think. So, because it got us one of my favorite things, which was him busting out the binder and going, you can ask, or no, he said, you can ask one question each.
Right.
The one guy said, where are we sending this stuff? An island. Well, but it's moving. How is it moving? Or, I mean, how have the coordinates changed? It's like the island moves. He answered 2 questions for him, technically.
Yeah. And
then he asked a third, and he's like, 1 question.
And I was like, that was already 2.
Yeah.
What's going on?
I mean, technically, it's a follow-up.
I guess.
You know, like, what do you mean? How? But, and then the other guy finds the fish biscuits, and he's like, why are we sending polar bear biscuits to an island? And he's like, yeah, there's polar bears on the island. So then we get the really cool stuff with the...
Pierre Chang.
He's like, oh, where do they get the coordinates from? The lamppost station. They're like, lamppost station? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, I need answers. Ben busts out the binders with the DVDs. He's like, sorry, they're transferred from an old Betamax. And he grabs and eats a granola bar, a Dharma granola bar, and then puts one in his pocket. You notice that?
Yeah.
Slipped it in there to give to Walt to
I
prove
didn't
that
know
everything
that.
was real.
Okay.
So we see Station 1, the Hydra. It's Pierre Chang. He says not to divulge his name. He doesn't want to have to resort to using an alias in the future, and laughs.
Which is what he has to do.
Again, that's almost like one of those things where I feel like they did it after the fact.
Well, yeah, because they're following it up. Like,
Yeah.
well,
shit.
I guess we'll
no,
go
he
make
was
another
Chang,
one.
But
Yeah.
Edgar Halowax as well.
Yeah.
And Dr. Marvin Candle.
Yeah.
This station is to conduct research on animal, bird, and marine subjects. We saw a maze very similar to Faraday's for Eloise, and we hear the Hurley-bird.
Yes.
Hurley!
Yeah.
And he said there were genetic alterations, and he says these high birds
Yeah.
will be released and studied. So that answered the Hurley-bird question.
It did.
I wish we could have seen it. You know,
Well,
it
we
was in the
did.
cage. I wish we could have literally just seen it.
Oh, at that point in time, yeah.
Polar bears possess a keen sense of memory and adaptability. They will be experimented on with electromagnetism. Do not show affection to the bears, and it shows a guy with an arm missing. Do not underestimate their cunning. They show the fish biscuit machine, and they say they put a collar on the bear after it has been tranquilized, and then they transfer to the orchid station for the next phase of research, which is have the polar bear push the wheel and get transferred to Tunisia, which is why Charlotte found the collar.
Oh, okay.
I mean, tying shit together. Cool
Yes.
as fuck. So they were using the polar bears to test out what happens.
Yeah.
Let's see. Be sure to confirm the bears are not pregnant, as the electromagnetic levels at the orchid have severe effects on early term gestation. That's why people can't have babies on the
Right.
island. Chang shows off room 23 for human testing. The hostiles are acquired on the main island, sedated and brought to room 23. Do not engage them in conversation. They're trying to understand their way of life, and particularly their worship of an island deity they call Jacob. They put the goggles on and turn on the visualization. The dreamlike quality of the film and the meds will create an amnesia of sorts. These measures are extreme but necessary to keep their truce with the hostiles.
Yeah.
I mean, again, cool tie-ins
It
to
was.
all the things. It's like, it's literally just an information dump, but I'm
It
loving
was,
it.
yeah.
One of the guys says, I think we're going to need to see that again. Remember
Locke.
Ben says he has another call to make. Namaste.
Yeah. So good.
We go to Santa Rosa for the final scene, and Ben wants to see Keith Johnson. Did you realize right then what he was... I mean, you've seen it before, but when he said Keith Johnson originally, did you know what he was talking about?
I figured it was
It didn't connect
somebody
to me.
that wasn't I knew it was somebody that wasn't on the island, but
Right,
I didn't remember
think
who.
it was Walt. I didn't, but I mean, meet Kevin Johnson, remember?
Yeah.
So he's Keith Johnson.
Yeah.
Like, that should have been an
It
obvious
should
clue.
have, yeah.
He gives a note to give to Keith, and Keith is playing Connect 4. Walt is.
Why is he at a mental institution?
I mean, it's part of this conversation, basically.
Okay.
Ben talks to Walt. He says a friend of him sent him, and Walt's like, I don't have any friends. And Ben's like, even I have friends.
All my friends are dead.
This is all part of it, though. This is why he's there, because nobody believes him. Or, I mean, he can't tell anybody. Like, think of all that shit. He can't say his dad was alive, and then so he's living with that trauma of
Right.
that would make anybody. I mean, even Hurley
Why
says
can't he
to
talk
him,
to his grandma though? She knows that he died or
Right.
didn't or whatever.
but maybe she died.
Okay.
Ben says he's genuinely sorry about kidnapping him.
Yeah.
He knows how difficult it has been to pretend to be someone he's not, and Ben says he's here to help, and he's like, why? Because you're special, and I bet you haven't heard that for a long-ass time. You're right. And he's like, you have work to do. Your father needs your help. And he's like, he's dead. He's like, doesn't mean you can't help him. He asks Walt to go with them and shows him a Dharma granola bar. That was the proof that I'm not making this shit up. All this stuff actually happened.
Yeah. I mean, not like he could have just ordered a
Fair
granola
enough,
bar with a
right.
logo on it.
They go outside to the Dharma van, and Hurley's in the back, and he's like, great to see you, Walt. And Walt said he kept hoping someday someone would come back for him. He just thought he was crazy. Do you remember all the times Hurley said that? That he thought he was crazy?
Mm-hmm.
This is what Walt's going through.
Yeah.
The same shit. He's being told by everybody around him that he's crazy or feels crazy based on how everybody reacts to the shit he says. Yeah. And here we are. So he was getting the Hurley treatment. He's like, you're not crazy, dude. You just need to get back to the island. It's where you've always belonged. And Hurley's like, I want to talk to you about a job. So Walt's going to take over.
Or maybe just free his dad from the purgatory that he's in.
Maybe. But I think...
Or maybe take care of Vincent somebody needs to come take care of this fucking dog.
I mean, Rose and Bernard are still there.
I guess, yeah.
But do you think do you think Walt would, maybe that's why they were saying he's special. Maybe he's special in the sense that he's going to be the one to take over the island long term. Although
No,
Hurley
he
and
could
Ben
kill
say,
birds. Maybe he just wanted him to come and kill the Hurley bird.
oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, I want to talk to
I
you about a
need
job.
you to get rid of this fucking
I
bird that
keep
just
saying
says
my
name.
and it's fucking with me.
I can't do it. I can't deal with it anymore.
He said it's time for us all to go home, and then boom, end credits.
It was good.
Excellent.
Very good.
We'll be back in the afterlife next week. I mean, I'm not ready to leave the island. I love the island so much.
I mean, I'm okay
I want to
with it.
visit the actual island.
I'm ready to see the plane fly over the island and then the pan down to the island.
It was
underneath.
fucking awesome.
It was so good.
I remember sitting in your living room watching that and being super excited.
Yeah, like what?
Like, what? Okay, yeah, we'll see you next week. Because
This is how to watch TV.
subscribe and chat. See you later.
Yeah.
All these memories in my mind, my mind, my mind, my mind, my mind, my mind. I'm still a secret lemonade drinker.